and hopefully today I won't get knocked off. Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner. This is Semantic Mastery. There's no storms brewing outside. Yesterday during Hump Day Hangouts, I got knocked out like within, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, and it sucked. So sorry about that, guys, but currently there's no storms outside. So today we're going to be talking about PR stacking and how to get more power out of press releases. And something that I've never revealed outside of the local PR Pro training course, and in fact, it's evolved a bit. And I'm going to be talking about that today, which is, I'm going to be revealing a lot actually. So I got Marco on with me. How you doing, Marco? Let me just tell everybody you got poked in the eye by your baby, so he's suffering a little bit, so he's not going to be as interactive as he normally is. But how you doing, Marco?
I can still say fuck Google.
Okay, good enough. Everything else all right?
Everything else is good except my fucked up eye.
Okay. All right. Well, let me make guys, if you're here, yeah, let us know that you're here in the chat box underneath. Let me make sure everything's working well on the page. Stand by, guys. That's guys, if you're here. Yeah, usually we have an Adam who's not on these webinars, so I got to kind of do everything on my own. Stand by for a minute. Looks like the video is playing fine. So yeah, guys, if you're here, just go ahead and comment below. I'm going to go through some presentation slides today, specifically about this method. Jay Conway, can you see me? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to go through some slides and talk about the concept and PR silo stacking and how you guys can get much better results from press releases and from all of the things that we teach. Seriously, they all interconnect. I mean, we don't recommend doing any one thing in isolation. We recommend kind of combining everything because they build upon each other, right? And it is the exact same stuff that we do to get results. And in fact, a couple of the things that I'll be showing examples of today is just from my new business that I set up recently. And all I have done with that is a drive stack and press releases so far. I haven't even bought the link building packages to the drive stack or the press releases, which I'm going to be recommending. Of course, the business that I'm in isn't all that competitive when it comes to SEO. But anyways, I'll share that with you. But I'm doing really well anyways, as far as generating leads directly from organic search, from doing nothing other than a drive stack and press releases and a syndication network, which are the three foundational things that we talk about all the time. You know, day in and day out, we always talk about it. It's in our battle plan. You start with a syndication network first. Announce your new business or the website or whatever with a press release. And once you start publishing press releases, you should continually publish them. It's a standard operating procedure. It's a foundational method for us, right? And then a drive stack. Get a drive stack that built with a Google site that mirrors the website. And then from there, you can build that out and then publish consistently and build links to all of those things, right? Not directly to the money site, but to the drive stack, to the press releases, to the organization page or the media room for your press releases, to your syndication network properties. Publish content consistently and regularly to your blog, which is going to syndicate. And you can also connect the RSS feed from your organization page to your syndication network so that you can auto-publish your press releases to your syndication network. And what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is called the PR silo stack, which I've never talked about before. And it's very, very powerful. And I've been kind of doing that with some of my clients recently. And it's working really, really well. And they all go hand in hand. Everything does. The syndication network, the silo structure, it starts with silo structure on your website and publishing content to a syndication network, but then theme mirroring all of that with a Google site and a drive stack. And then doing the same thing with the PRs. You can create a PR silo, a press release silo that mirrors exactly what you're doing on your blog, your money site blog. And then the interlinking is all done the exact same way. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that today, just at least through some slides, so that you're going to have to kind of envision it on your own. And then obviously we'll get into this a little bit more in the mastermind, but I wanted to share this with you guys because it's very, very powerful for SEO. And it really is the new PR stacking. The original method that we taught inside a local PR Pro still works, but that was kind of more, that doesn't work quite as well or as quickly as it used to. And I found that by doing this, marrying it with some of our other methods like the drive stacks and the syndication networks, and then also creating the silo structure with the press releases, it tends to be a lot more powerful. It's working very, very well. So I'm going to show that to you guys today, which is, we don't usually reveal this much in one of these webinars, but I think it's powerful. And I know that you guys can get these results if you're buying press releases from us at MGYV individually, or if you have your own subscription, you can still apply these methods. And our hopes is that you would still come back and use our syndication networks and drive stacks and our link building, because our link building packages are built specifically or created specifically for these types of things. All right. So with that, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. You guys.
I clicked on the video already. It's playing.
Yeah, it was playing for me with audio. Let me just. Guys. It looks like the hold on, let me update the ClickFunnels page real quick, because it looks like the controls aren't showing. Are the controls showing for you, Marco?
No.
All right, let me see if I can update the ClickFunnels page. Just stand by, guys. Give me 1 minute.
I see what's going on, because I think that's the last one we did. No,
Well,
that's
refresh the page. Well, you can't tell them in the chat box to refresh the page. If they got here before I had changed the URL out on the page, then they're going to be seeing the old URL.
I'll put it on there. You need to refresh.
All right. ClickFunnels says the controls are on, so stand by. Let me. If not, we'll just drop the link over to YouTube Direct, which is fine.
No, it's not showing controls, but all you have to do is click on the video.
Yeah, click on
and it plays.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so I'm going to grab if they need to, I'm just going to grab the URL from the video and drop that over there for them as well. So here, Marco, I'll drop this on the page. All right, guys, and then we're going to get into it. If needed, go to YouTube.
Rob says everything's fine.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Come on. It can't just be one guy here watching. So somebody else comment and let us know that the shit's working. All right. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving. Marco, just monitor the comments if you don't mind. All right. I'm going to grab the screen. Let's get into it. We only got an hour. Okay. So press release or PR stacks, best practices and more power. The best practices, guys, for press releases, period, is to publish consistently and often. If you have your own subscription to Press Advantage, for example, which we've promoted recently, I think that offer is still live. If I remember correctly. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go search our YouTube channel for Press Advantage, or go search Google for Press Advantage Semantic Mastery or something like that. You'll see the offer that was available. So that's if you're going to be doing a lot of volume, then I certainly recommend that you have your own subscription. But if not, you can buy them one-offs from us. And the idea here is to publish consistently and often, depending on the competition levels is going to determine how many or how often that you need to publish. I say a minimum of 2 per month for pretty much any project. Almost all of my clients are getting at least 2 per month. Only my bottom feeder clients that have been with me for many years, that have grandfathered into very insignificant monthly retainers, are getting 1 per month. But most of my clients are getting 2 per month. And my more recent clients that have more of an aggressive budget, they're getting at least 1 per week. And that tends to work very well for most projects, is 4 press releases per month, as long as you're publishing consistently and regularly. So 1 per week works very, very well. But again, I would recommend a minimum of 2 per month. All right. Publish even more for highly competitive markets or for faster results. Okay. So if you're trying to get results very quickly, then you can publish more. You're going to see, though, what I'm talking about in a moment when I talk about creating the silo structure with the press releases on. You're going to want to be publishing content regularly to your blog as well, to the money site blog. And then that's going to syndicate out to a syndication network. That's why, like I said, all of this is interlinked. Okay. So when you're doing the press releases, guys, make sure that you're linking to, these are what we recommend as your top target URLs, right? So your money site, that could consist of your homepage, your inner pages, your top level silo pages, your category pages, or your posts. right? You want to be switching it up. You just don't always want to link to your homepage or always to a particular landing page. Find reasons or excuses to link to other parts within your site or other pages and or posts, including category pages within your site, right? Because again, you want to start spreading the love throughout your site in various places, especially if you have your on-page done correctly and your silo structure set up correctly, which we've been talking a lot about recently in the mastermind. And if you implement those and you have that architecture correct or set up properly, then as you're linking throughout, it's going to power everything up, and it creates what Network Empire used to call buoyancy, right? It'll help the whole entire site to rise in the SERPs. So very, very important. The GMB URL, right? That's important if you've got, if your projects are connected, if they're a local project and they're connected to a verified GMB profile, then you certainly want to link to that too. Because remember, press releases are going to give you citations. Essentially, it's going to be NAP published with the links as well, and so it's very, very powerful for maps. And in case you didn't know, you can embed maps now in the press releases, the GMB maps, so that we sell at MGYB, right? So it's very, very important to not only embed the map, but also, if you're not embedding, you can still link to the map URL. Make sure you're finding the correct format of the map URL to link to. Don't send us the long, ugly URL, and don't send us that stupid short URL that you can get the map share URL, because that's a 302 redirect. What you want to do is get this version of the map URL, which you can do by going to gmb.reviewsmaker.com. That is this site right here. Now, you can find it two different ways. You can go to and start entering in the name. Let's see if the one that I'm talking about comes up. Okay, so see, my new real estate business is not showing up when I type it by name, but what you can do is click on, if you can't find it by typing in the name, guys, the brand name of the business that you want to find that proper formatting of the map URL, then just click on decode place ID and then go grab that long, ugly URL and paste that into there from Google Maps. So let me show you what I mean. If I go to Google and I search for Alpha Land Realty, which is my new business, and I click through to maps, I can just copy this URL here, paste it in right here, click decode place ID, and it's going to give you this map URL. Now, I'm going to copy this and put it on a notepad file and show you how you still need to edit this URL. This is going to give you that CID equals number, and that's the number, the map ID number essentially. But let me show you why you still need to edit this. If I zoom in on this, if we take this URL, guys, and we go to a redirect detector, or like Where Goes, for example, or another one that I use a lot is redirectdetective.com. Wheregoes.com is one that Marco likes. If I paste that URL in there, look what it does. It's still a 302 redirect, but all it does is it ends up redirecting to this version of it down here, which is, you can just take the same URL and you move maps to after that first / at the end of .com, right? So you move maps to there, and then you change maps right here to www. That's it. Once you do that, now that is a straight, it still ends up redirecting once the browser loads the map. It redirects to the long, ugly URL, but it's not considered a redirect. It's weird. If I actually test this right now, you'll see I click trace URL. It's going to say no redirects found. But if I come over here and I paste that URL in there, you'll see once the map loads, watch the browser bar. Boom, it switches to that long URL. So what I'm saying is this is the URL format that you want to use when you're linking to your maps URL from anywhere, really. But press release is what we're talking about today, okay? Because that is like a straight 301. It's a test, HTML code 200 okay. Does that make sense? So that's what you want to use, is that URL right there. So again, you can find that using this gmb.reviewsmaker.com site. Just click on it. Try to find, you can type in the name of the business. If it pulls up, great, click on it. And once you find this CID equals, just reformat that URL to like I just showed you here, and that'll give you that straight URL that you want. All right. Or you can obviously, like I said, you can grab the long URL and paste it in as the decode place ID, and it'll result in the same page that you're seeing here. And then once again, just copy that and format that URL like you see here. And there you go. You're good to go. All right. Okay. Then also, so besides linking to your money site, all the different types of pages and posts within your money site, just per PR, and you want to be able to link to one of these, right? So one of your money site pages, your GMB URL, if you're trying to promote a Google Maps listing or ranking, a top tier one branded profiles, guys, that can be social media. Obviously, your top tier social media. Facebook comes to mind, YouTube, LinkedIn if you're using that, Twitter if you're using that, any one of those. Syndication network profiles. You should have a syndication network, right? That should be foundational stuff. Citations, if it's for a local business. Link to your top level citations. Yelp would be a good one, although God forbid, I hate Yelp. It ranks very well, right? So why not link to it? Guest posts, anything else that you're linked that you've got that are top tier one assets that are linking back to you that are high authority type sites or branded profiles especially works really, really well, right? So that you're basically just, you're creating that interlinking between all of your branded profiles, and it creates a brand footprint, which you want. It's not a bad word, right? We think in SEO terms that a footprint is a bad thing, but not in this case. Okay. So then also you can link to your Google site from your Drive stack or your Drive folders and or files or your ad ID page. Okay. If it's an ad ID page on an S3 Amazon, an Amazon S3 bucket, then you're probably going to want to set up a domain redirect or a subdomain redirect because for whatever reason, Press Advantage does not like the Amazon S3 URL. But you can set up a redirect to make it work. It doesn't have to be a subdomain redirect, guys. You can even do like Pretty Links or some sort of redirect plugin from your main domain, your money site domain, and just set up a redirect and include the redirect URL to your ad ID page if you're doing that. Okay. If you don't know what that is, if you're part of Syndication Academy, we talked about it in the February, I think 2018 update webinar. So it's well over a year, about a year and a half old now, but it's still very, very powerful. So definitely do that. Plus, you can always embed your ad ID page in your Drive stack or your G site, which is what we tell you to do. And then you can just build links to your G site through press releases, right? All right. Then silo PRs, just like you would posts on your money site. We're going to talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. So PR silo stacking. This is different than what we called PR stacking before, right? So the way that you do that, guys, is you're going to silo your money site blog, which you should be doing anyways. Okay, regularly publish posts within your silo, but be sure that your keyword research is done properly for your silos. If you've got a shitty silo structure, you're going to get shitty results, shit in, shit out, that type of thing. So if you're going to be setting up a silo and going through the trouble of doing that, make sure your keywords are stacked correctly, that you have keyword themes that are siloed well and properly. Okay. And so again, we've got at our store, mgyb.co, go to the mgyb.co store and you can look at all the different services, but we have a keyword research package or service that will provide you with in-depth keyword research that has your keywords already developed out into proposed silos, right? So it takes the guesswork out of it. And it'll give you a ton of additional keywords to use to create a lot of depth within a silo. So if you're in a competitive industry, or even, if just over long term, if you're going to be publishing content consistently and regularly for the long term, you're going to have plenty of keywords to choose from to continue to add depth to that silo. All right. Now, next, here's where some of the magic starts to happen. If you do have a GMB, this is not necessary. If it's not a local business and you don't have a Google My Business profile, you don't need to do the GMB post part of it. But if you do have a GMB, if you are trying to rank in maps, if it's for a local business or for lead generation, then you're going to want to publish GMB posts that highlights and links to the blog silo post. So in other words, for every single blog post that you do within your money site, you go publish a GMB post. You can use the same featured image, guys, from your blog as the image for your GMB post. Right? And just all you got to do is copy and paste. If you have a blogger doing this for you, which is what I recommend you do, this is what my team does. I have bloggers that do this. They go blog on the client's website, the money site, the blog, right? Their self-hosted WordPress site. And as soon as they're done, it depends on what it is. I either have my blogger that does the blogging on the money sites send the blog URL over to my GMB poster, who is another VA that does that for me. Or sometimes it's the same blogger that does the posts on the money site as well as actually in the GMB. In either case, all they do is take the same image. They just take the image from the blog post itself, use that as the image for the GMB post, and then they just copy the first couple of paragraphs, 2 or 3 paragraphs from the blog post into the text part of the GMB post. And then the link, so the learn more button or whatever, the call to action button within the GMB post links back to the blog post, right? It's the blog post URL. So it's like an attribution link anyways, just like what we teach in Syndication Academy. You're basically copying and pasting. So you're republishing the blog post to GMB. It's a little bit of a manual process. I know we have a way to automate that, but honestly, all my team just does that because I have bloggers that handle all this stuff for me. So they literally just, if it's 2 different people, one doing the blog, one doing the GMB post, or if it's the same person, either way, it's a simple process. The blog post gets published first. The URL gets sent to the GMB poster. The GMB poster then visits the blog post, downloads the images, uploads it to GMB as the post image, copies the first 2 or 3 paragraphs, pastes it in, then puts the call to action button with the post URL as the call to action button, right? And then they publish the post. Boom, done. Very, very simple. Works really well because now you've got content for your GMB, okay? And then you publish the PR silo stack from there. So, and again, guys, if you're not using GMB, omit that step. Just start publishing regularly to the blog. And then every time you publish a blog post, publish a PR post or a press release. Guys, that's a perfect opportunity for publishing a press release, right? So you can announce new content, announce what the content is about, right? So how do you create the PR silo? Very simply, the first press release that you're going to publish for the PR silo is going to be optimized and for the top level keyword. So the top of the silo keyword, your broadest of keywords, the most competitive, right? So again, if you understand how to create proper silo structure, you're going to put your broadest, most competitive keyword at the top of the silo. And then from there, you're going to create longer tail keywords that are, supporting type keywords to kind of help build that keyword relevancy, that theme. And you're going to publish additional content within that category. Okay, and then make sure that your internal linking is done correctly. Well, the same thing goes with the press releases. You want to first publish your first press release, that's going to be optimized for your top level keyword. What do I mean by optimized? Well, have that top level keyword in the title. Work it into the title. And then also, it will be mentioned throughout the content of the press release, especially if you're using our PR services or Press Advantage with the writing services or any good press release service that provides writing, which most of them do now. And I always recommend using their writing service. It's going to be well-written content for the most part. Occasionally you'll find some errors and stuff, but for the most part, it's very, very good. So it will be well-written, will be optimized for the primary keyword, the top of silo keyword. And you want to link back from within that press release to that top level silo page, right, on the money site. And then you can select 2 other targets, like what I've talked about, 2 other tier 1 assets, right? So it could be social media. It could be one of your syndication network properties. It could be a drive stack or G site. Again, just remember your primary target URL, the most important one in this case would be linking to your top level silo page that's optimized for the same keyword as the press release. Does that make sense? Then you want to publish additional or subsequent PRs for each blog post within the money site silo highlighting the blog post content. In other words, for every single post that you publish within that silo on the money site, you publish another press release. And remember, you're going to publish, if you're doing GMB stuff, you're going to publish another GMB post. So then after the top of silo PR is published, all of the other ones are what I call supporting PRs, right? Just like supporting posts would be within a silo. This is how you're going to link to them. You're going to link to the blog post on the money site. You're going to link to the GMB post that corresponds to the blog post on the money site. And you're going to link, here's the PR stack, guys. You're going to link to the previous PR within the PR silo. Does that make sense? So that's how you create the PR stack. That's also how you create the interlinking, the daisy chain silo effect, right? And you're going to mirror that same sort of linking structure on your money site and also in your GMB posts. Does that make sense? So again, guys, very, very easy. And now what you're doing is you're pushing relevancy through the press release to the GMB post and to the money site. And they're all kind of interlinking. They're none of, we've talked a lot about this. I'm not going to get into this much, but what Marco was talking about in the mastermind was reciprocal links. And none of these are in that case. Okay. It's almost like co-citation, because one thing links to another, which then links to another, which then the other one links back to the other. So it's not like a reciprocal, but it's like a co-citation link. Okay, so very, very powerful. We're going to move on. Theme mirroring. Okay, we talk about this a lot, but you want to mirror your silo structure from your blog onto your G site and Drive stack, just like we talked about just in the previous slide about your PR stack, right? You're going to mirror your silo from your money site blog into with press releases. I mean, you're going to create a PR silo that mirrors your money site blog silo. And you do the same damn thing here with the Drive stack and the Google site, the G site, and the Drive stack, right? So you buy the base Drive stack from us, have it all built out. It's nice and pretty. It looks well, super optimized, interlinked incredibly well. And then you go in and you create the additional folders and files. And here's a trick, guys. You can just clone an additional a folder from in your Drive stack. Go into the Drive folder, clone it, right? Make a copy, and then once it's been copied, then you go back and retitle it to your silo heading, right? Your silo keyword. And then from there, the files inside, you have to go in and manually edit them to update them to be specific to that particular keyword theme or that silo. Does that make sense? But you can duplicate as many times as you need to for as many silos as you have. And by the way, in the coming months, that's a service that we are going to be able to provide for you guys. Unfortunately, we've not been able to do that yet. But we are it's within sight. It's coming. Okay. So you want to mirror your silo structure onto the G site as well as to the Drive stack, just like what you did with the press releases. Everything is going to mirror what is on your money site. Remember, it all starts with a tight silo on your money site. Okay. Then once your PRs are published, get the PDF of it and add it to the silo folder. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let me show you what I mean. Where is my press release? It might be this one. Oh, there it was over there. Anyways, this is one of the press releases that was just published about a week ago or so. And there's a PDF version of it, guys. These PDFs index, by the way, the URLs do. But if I were to click on that, that's going to actually ask me to download it. Let me just put this in my downloads folder, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's great, right? You get a PDF version of your press release. So all you got, and it's got the links, the same links that were in the press release. They're all clickable links, so you can download that PDF. If you don't have your own Press Advantage account, that's fine, because you can usually just take the title of the PDF and find it by searching with quotes around it, the title in Google, or you can actually the URL. We can give you the URL structure from that, which is basically it's and so that you can always go download it if you know your title, right? Because you'll know the slug. But my point is, it's very easy to just grab that PDF now and upload that to your Drive stack, right? And so you can put those in your silo folders, guys, and it's additional content that already has the links that now you can use to start, to continue building out the relevancy and the depth within the silo. Does that make sense? So very, very powerful. Another thing that's just really easy to do. All right. Next, Syndication Networks, guys. Publish your PR silo stacks automatically to your network. Right? So you should have already had a syndication network. That should be step number one for just about everything, which is what we talk about in the battle plan. And we always recommend that, guys. We talked about syndication networks 2 months ago on this particular webinar that you're on right now. If you haven't seen it, you can view it in the archives or whatever on our channel, probably on this SM website. It might even be archived on the MGYB store. I'm not sure of that. Maybe Marco knows. But syndication networks are incredibly still are valuable and powerful to this day. Okay. Not the exact same way that they were many years ago, but they're still every bit as important, if not more important now, for branding and entity validation and solidification. And we've covered all of that. Well, you can automatically post your press releases to your syndication networks in silo format by just grabbing the RSS feed from your organization page. right? So as I was talking about before, we have an organization page from these that has an RSS feed, and the RSS feed will automatically publish these press releases to, you know, if you set up the IFTTT applets, to your syndication networks. And here's an example. This is one of mine, right, for the Blogger account. You can see this is the same PR we just downloaded a minute ago as a PDF. It's the one from July 12th. Here's another one. This is from the Tumblr. See, same PR, right? These are auto publishing to my my sites, guys, my syndication network. And here's the WordPress one. See? So it's beautiful, guys. All this is automated. So like I was talking about before, everything builds upon each other, and you can get so much, you know, value out of just doing these things when they're all put together. All these pieces of the puzzle are put together, right? They just work hand in hand in tandem to produce really good results. Okay. So there you go. If you don't have a syndication network, get one. We'll build them for you. They're set up beautifully. They work really, really well. And it's, you know, I certainly don't recommend you guys building your own syndication networks. If you've done one yet, it's incredibly tedious. It's not something I enjoy doing anymore, you know, because we've got a team that does it, and the same team that you can use to do it. All right. How do you get more power? Hit each of these layers with backlinks, guys. You fucking hammer these things, right? You can absolutely hammer everything that I just mentioned today, except your money site, which is why we build all these things, guys. They're the SEO firewall, right? It creates a almost like a cocoon around our site that keeps our site protected. And we build all of this relevancy and all of this authority through these assets that we create, these branded digital assets, both through Google, syndication network properties, and press releases. And then we hammer all of those with our nasty external link building, right? And that's what we do. So we hit each one of those layers with backlinks. You hit the PRs in the organization page, the media room, with backlinks, right? You hit the G site and the drive stack folders and files. You hit the syndication network properties, all of the above with backlinks, packages that we have available at MGYB. Those were specifically developed by our link building master, Dedia, for the last many years that he's been working with me since I think 2012 or 13. And he developed all of the link building packages specifically for boosting these methods, right? And it works really well. And what I love about it, guys, is once again, it's push button simple. All you do is generate the list of keywords, which you can get through our keyword research. So you don't even have to do that anymore. And then provide him with the URLs from each one of these digital assets that you set up, right? So again, you buy the MGYB drive stacks and folders and files. You'll get one spreadsheet with all of those links conveniently put in one place for you, so you can copy and paste them over. Same thing with your drives or your syndication network. Your syndication network properties come all on a spreadsheet, copy and paste. And then your press releases, and you can really just hit your organization page if you want, because your organization page is like an index page that shows all of your other press releases, right? So think about that. It's really, really powerful, guys. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The last thing I want to say was obviously go to the mgyb.co store to get all of these things. And that was right about the 30-minute mark, which gives us 30 minutes for questions.
Yeah.
Parker, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, the first question is going to be mine. All right, because while you were doing that, I just started thinking it. You don't grab the distribution PDF and drop it into your.
Yeah, you can do that too. Yeah.
I mean, I would suggest it highly that you grab that and put that into your silos, because then every time you blast it with another PR or with link building, even though we know that some of those URLs, right, some of those links will purge, the ones that stay live will continuously get boosted if they're in that folder, right?
That's correct.
From even if you don't link build directly into the folder, it'll get power from everything else.
That's correct. I totally agree. Okay. Wow, very few questions today, guys. That's cool. We'll wrap it up real early if that's the case. We had an hour scheduled, but we certainly don't need to sit here and talk. So, guys, got questions, start posting them now, because if I get through these very few questions quick enough, I'm going to terminate it because I got other shit to do. But let's go ahead and answer what I see. The only question I see right now is this one. How do local citations integrate into this? Well, like I said, local citations, first of all, whenever you publish press releases, if you formatted your name, address, and phone number correctly, and you got your Google map and included with your press release organization page, and now you can also embed those maps directly in the press releases, then those count as citations. So when you get published to 300 sites, those are 300 citations that get published, and that's very, very powerful. But as far as, like I mentioned before, if we go back to the slides, what did I talk about when you're linking? Best practices right there. Top tier 1 branded profiles. You link to, from within the press releases, your top tier 1 branded profiles, which include social media, syndication network profiles, citations, and guest posts, right? And other things too. That's just, I ran out of slide, area on the slide for to include another one. So again, if you've got citations, by the way, how do you find your top level citations, guys? I've talked about this a million times, but let's go through this again. How do you find the most powerful citations according to Google for the business that you want to build additional links to? Well, the easiest way to do it is just go to Google, and let me grab my phone number here and I'll show you exactly how I would do it. Now, I've not built any citations for this business. Haven't needed to, but if I was going to, this is how I would do it. You type in your company name, go to Google and just search for the brand name of whatever it is you're trying to promote, and put the phone number in too. So you're going to do a search for both. And what I typically do is I put these in two separate sets of quotes. So let's do this. And again, I've not built any citations for this other than just press releases. So this might not be a really good example. But what I would do is click search, and yeah, so all you're going to see is press releases coming up here. Let me do see what could I share that would be. Let's try Big Bamboo Marketing. I haven't really built site. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. Let's try my agency. Big Bamboo Marketing. Stand by for a minute. 540 60670. Okay. So, and yeah, I mean, I haven't really built citations for here in a long time, but right here, this is because I'm not really promoting my agency. I haven't forever. But if you take a look, I just searched for Big Bamboo Marketing plus the main published phone number for the GMB listing, and here's Yelp, here's Alignable, here's Manta, right? And then obviously there's a press release. Then here's shopcharlottesville.com. That's what you call a hyper local citation. We've talked about that before, guys. Hyper local citations are very, very powerful, and obviously Google thinks so too, because it is the 5th ranked citation. What I'm saying is, guys, just do a search for the brand name plus the phone number, right? And you'll see which citations Google thinks are the most powerful for that business, for that particular business, because the citations will be listed on page 1 and page 2. And by the way, that's as far as I go. I just collect all the citations on page 1 and page 2, and those are the ones that I will build links to. That's it. And that's funny to see that the Google site is actually way down here on page 2, which is funny. By the way, this was built in 2015. These are not how our Google sites look like when you order a drive stack. This is what I did when I first learned how to do it in 2015, and it's awful, but it still ranks for SEO Virginia. So 4 years later. All right. So anyways, that's how citations work into it. Just find your top level citations and build those into. What I do, guys, for my clients is, and my bloggers do all this, because my bloggers order the press releases now for all my clients. Like, I don't have to worry about, unless I'm going in and ordering a press release for something special, or I'm trying to hit something with some links but the regular content marketing schedule for my clients, my VAs, my bloggers do this for me. All they do is, I've got a spreadsheet for them set up that has the NAP data for that client, and then underneath the NAP data there is a target URLs. It's just a spreadsheet, and it says target URLs, and there's also another column that's the keywords that they're supposed to use to target. And all they do is the target URLs, they just rotate through them. So let's say it's a client that's getting 4 press releases a month. Well, week 1 it'll be one of the target URL 1. Week 2 will be target URL 2. Week 3, week 4, and then the following week 1, and the next month might, it just goes on, cycles through the target URLs so that we're constantly building links to the top level citations and such in rotation. But when you get to siloing posts, then like I said, siloing PRs, you want to do this, right? You can switch it up, right? For example, you don't always have to, if you're linking to the blog post on the money site and the GMB post, which is in turn linked to the blog post on the money site. And this is what I mean. When I've said these kind of things about the local PR pro, people thought that you had to be incredibly rigid with your linking structure. No, this is a template. This is a starting point. What I mean by this is you can cycle through other top tier branded or tier 1 branded profile URLs in here. So you don't always have to link to the blog post and the GMB, the corresponding GMB post. That's the great starting point. And we do this often, but you can substitute a tier 1 branded profile URL for one of these. Does that make sense? You can, in other words, you can omit the GMB post URL and link to your Yelp listing, for example, or link to, what I recommend not doing though is just breaking the silo and, linking to something that would be in another silo from your money site. But you can link to other top tier 1 branded profiles, if that makes sense. Okay. Which, by the way, guys, if you end up siloing your posts on your syndication network too, you could end up linking directly to a syndication network where it's been published on the syndication network. So like, for example, if I click on that, that's the individual post URL for that on Blogger. Does that make sense? So I could actually link directly to that within a press release instead of always just to the home page of the syndication network property. You can actually extract the post URLs, the individual post URLs, and build to them. So you're building internal links or deep links to your syndication network property blogs as well. Does that make sense? So again, these are just templates, guys, starting points. All right. How often would you do press releases? That was covered in the slides again, guys. Let's go back. You have access to the slides. If you don't see it, scroll up. I gave you the link way up here at the top where it says view presentation slides right here, but I'll go back and cover it briefly. How often should you post press releases?
I think Rob would say every day.
Yeah, Rob would. And if you have the resources, then yeah. But as I state here, I would say in order to get good results, I say a minimum of 2 per month, per client or per project. Okay. If you want one, I typically, for most all projects I work on now, we're publishing 1 per week for whether it's my own stuff or client stuff. We're publishing about 1 per week for just about everything. Okay. If you're dealing in a highly competitive market or you need fast results, then you can publish more than that. And it's obviously going to depend on your budget, your resources, and all that kind of stuff. But I work this directly, like my SEO proposals now, this is a built-in cost into my SEO proposals. Like, in other words, that goes out as part of my SEO. There is no discussion about it. They're included. Does that make sense? Press releases are part of our content marketing strategy because they work so well.
And just so people know, right now the magic is happening around press release 3 and 4. I don't know if it's because Google has a sandbox. I don't know if it's because of frequency. I don't know if Google wants to see activity. I'm not sure what it is or what Google is doing. But what I have seen is that the magic is at around press release 3 or 4. That's when everything is like kind of set loose, right? The floodgates open, and that's when it really starts hitting, and it takes an effect, and that's when the link building really hammers everything into place.
Yeah. Okay, is there a way to leverage multiple client accounts if they are franchises? I have 5 clients, 5 locations, all same franchise. Thanks. Yeah, well, each location would have its own organization page. So it would, like, for example, each location would be its own standalone organization. They may all be of a greater brand, a franchise, that's fine, but I would still treat each location as a separate, like you have now, a separate client, right? So you would have like your own organization page. Each client would get, or each location would have its own drive stack, its own syndication network. That's how I would do it, because they are 5 independent clients, right? And they are 5 unique locations. So if it was one client with 5 locations, there's some different things that you could do. You could have one syndication network, and you could be using your one money site blog, for example, to publish content to target all 5 locations. And then you create location silos within the blog, and you can mirror that with your G site and your drive stacks and do everything else that we just talked about with mirroring. But when you have franchises instead of multiple locations under one client. When you have multiple clients with, each with their own single location, then I would treat each one of those as independent clients. In other words, each one would get its own drive stack, its own syndication network, its own organization page, its own blog, essentially, unless they have some sort of corporate website, in which case, that you could create the blogs from, where you could then set up location silos. But then again, I would still, for each location, have its own page and that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? So, but yeah, I mean, typically that's how I would do it. Tushar says, can you syndicate with links from blog post on syndication properties? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You can syndicate to your syndication networks anything that has an RSS feed. Now, I don't recommend, not everything that has an RSS feed should be syndicated though, right? Because it depends on how they come out looking. If they're not formatted correctly, or if they're just publishing snippets or the links themselves, which some RSS feeds will just be links and it won't contain any of the content, then you can get your syndication networks properties terminated for spam. But when they come out looking like this, guys, I mean, it's beautiful, right? I didn't do any formatting here. This just came directly from the RSS feed from Press Advantage. And what's funny is I've got my primary site for this business is a ClickFunnels page. So it doesn't have an RSS feed, right? So I put a blog.subdomain on the domain and installed WordPress. And but I'm not actually blogging on the site because I don't have the time for it, and I really haven't needed it. I'm already ranking in the top 3 organically for the state of Virginia for my primary keywords, which is that's what I'm targeting. So I really haven't needed to blog, but I'm using press releases as my content marketing because I don't have to do any of the writing. And honestly, I just once a week I tell Press Advantage to write a press release for me, and then I'm publishing those to the blog and to the syndication network instead. Does that make sense? So, but yeah, again, anything that has an RSS feed you can use to syndicate. Although, like I said, you want to make sure that you're syndicating stuff that is going to format correctly and look good. One more thing I would like to see on syndication networks: more interlinking sites as a larger package, a semantic way with more properties. I would pay more. No, we understand that, but in Syndication Academy, we provide a lot of different properties that you can use to build out the network, but they're not syndication sites. It's just to create a bigger branded footprint. And that's part of the reason we don't build them for you, is because there are so many out there. Maybe it's something that we could build into as an add-on package to where we could, maybe pick the top 10 additional properties or something and build them to where we brand them and set up the interlinks and all that. But we have always just sold syndication networks stuff that we can syndicate our content to. You can build out an additional branded footprint, but if you're not syndicating to it, it's part of the brand footprint, but it's not part of the syndication network. Does that make sense? So that's part of the reason we haven't offered that as a service. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future, but we just, that's not a priority for us, honestly, because you can get there's a lot of services out there that you can buy to increase the brand footprint that, aren't syndication network, you can't syndicate to, in other words. Does that make sense? And that's always been our specialty. All right. Web 2.0 links or G-spam links for MGYB. Web 2.0. Johnny, great question. Great question. I should have clarified that earlier, guys. If we go take a look at, let's go to the store. I'm going to show you guys, and this is straight from Deddy, our link building manager's mouth. So as soon as this page loads, we probably need to put a CDN on this, Marco, so it loads a little quicker. If we go to powerful link building, yeah, it's a slow load. We should probably see.
Good things are worth waiting for.
Yeah, I hear you. But that was a great question, by the way, guys. So I always do 2 tiers, sometimes 3, but I'm going to just be 100% honest with you. I typically just order 2-tier packages. And what I usually do is whatever tier 1 package I order is always contextual Web 2.0 links. And then I always order twice that amount as contextual Web 2.0 links as my second tier. Now, if you want to jam extra power into it, then you can go out to a 3rd tier. So like, for example, let's say I was going to order 7,000 tier 1 backlinks, contextual web 2.0, and this is per Dedia's recommendations. Then for my next tier, which like I said, I always order 2 tiers, always. Sometimes I order a 3rd tier, but what I would do is 14,000 contextual web 2.0s for my 2nd tier. And then if I needed them, I would do the 3rd tier as GSA, right? Because GSA is really kitchen sink spam. And what I would do is just add, a shit ton of them to the 2nd tier. But that, again, I don't always order 3rd tier, guys. It's only when I'm really trying to push something very aggressively will I even order 3rd tier, just so you know. Okay, I'm always honest with you guys about what I order, and this is what I do. I always order contextual web 2.0 1st tier, and then I double the amount on tier 2. Same type of links, though. Okay? Good question.
Okay, so let me jump in on this a little bit, because a drive stack and G site will take any kind of spam.
That's correct.
And we've proven it. We hit it with GSA direct with no filtering. And although Dedia filters his list, right, something could slip by. Now, if this is yours and you don't care what your link profile looks like, right, and what gets indexed, then by all means you can get GSA. But here's the problem: if it's for a client and you get one of those, you get a porn link indexed through that drive stack, and they will. And it'll be fine. I mean, the juice will come through from that link. So all that Google cares now is that you're being provided a link. This is where drive stacks and G sites are so fucking awesome. Problem is, if the client goes and looks through and they see that porn link, you're gonna have to explain it. Now, I have a way that I explain it when something like that happens. But I mean, think of having to go in and explain why there's a porn link in the profile and how the hell that happened. Because now wife and kids can't go through looking for daddy's website or whatever, because they're going to come across something like that linking to it. Can you do it directly to drive stack and G site and the most powerful tier 1s? Yes, you can. But what we usually recommend is that you keep that pristine. You keep that as clean as possible. Web 2.0 contextuals, and they work so well. The GSA way is to just overpower everything. Is when you don't care. So that's something to think about when you're making that order, or when you're placing the order.
Okay, last one. G. Gurgley says, and he's in our mastermind, press release question. Other providers have different packages for press releases. Example, Press Synergy published a release which routers did pick up. What about Press Advantage? No different packages exist. Yeah, there is an upgrade option. Marco, is that not worked into the store? I never ordered press releases through the store dashboard.
No, we haven't worked that in yet. But I guess we could offer it as an upgrade where you get picked up by Yahoo and
Yahoo Finance. I think it's Reuters and AP, the Associated Press. That's a good pickup too, by the way.
I guess Rob, if you're listening, we need to add this as an upsell. If people want it, they can just tick a box and order it. But we can do it. We could do it.
I see. Again, I never order press releases through the store. I do order my link building through the store, but I never order the press releases through the store because I have my own subscription. So anyways, do you offer writing text only for PR? You mean in not publishing? We do not. However, I know that the owner of Press Advantage has told me before that he could offer writing services for press releases that aren't being published. Like, in other words, because they're really good writing services in that they're typically 600 to 800 words long, where a lot of other press releases are a lot shorter. And so that's part of the reason I do like Press Advantage, because they're well-written press releases they're a little bit more meat to them, if that makes sense. That's something I'm not sure that we could offer yet, but Marco, if you can make a note of that to talk with Rob and or even I can even chat with Jeremy about it specifically. Let me make a note of that, guys. Stand by. I could find out. He's told me that I could use the writing services for press releases to be written that could be published on other distribution networks, because as we've said before, guys, distribution diversity is also important. Okay, we still only have one distribution service inside of MGYB service inside of MGYB store for now. but we do have a couple others on the horizon that we are likely going to be integrating so that you can order the diversity right from within the store. But for now we just have the one. But I'll find out if that's a service that we can offer. Okay, you are writing. That's a good question, G. Yeah, I'm not native English and it would help. Yeah, no, I understand, G. And even if it's not something we can do in the store, it's probably something we could offer in the mastermind. If it's lower volume, in other words. But again, let me talk to Jeremy first and I'll find out. If it's something that we can add to the store, that would be great. Okay.
I would also suggest go to Upwork, G.
Yeah. I mean, you can. The problem that I found is I know with, if you're ordering, it's roughly $50 per PR from Press Advantage for the writing of it, right? For the writing of the press release, it's roughly $50. Could be 40, somewhere around there. It's probably going to be $50. I think that's what the cost is for us. So we would have to slightly mark it up, obviously. But if you go to Upwork, and I know because I've done this, guys, and try to hire a press release writer, for anyone that's worth a shit, you're going to pay $100 per press release just to have it written. That does not include distribution. And I'm not kidding. And go try it yourself. Go to Upwork and start looking at press release writers that's their specialty. You're going to find, I mean, $100 will be a bargain if you can find one that'll write a 500 or 600 or 700 word. Most of the time those press releases are, $80 to $100 for 400 words, which is like, that's shit. I'd rather have a 700 word press release than a 400 word press release, as long as it's well written. Okay. Would you consider press cable as part of the distribution? Press cable, I mean, I used press cable for quite some time. Would we include that in our store? No, I don't. First of all, I don't know. I don't think Chris Munch would allow that. Number one. Number two, I actually quit I had a subscription with press cable for a very long time. I'm not talking shit about any of them guys. I think diversity is important. I still have some PR credits in press cable. But what I didn't like about press cable, and I'll be honest, I always am, is that there were a lot of distribution sites that were like PBNs. So they've inflated, they've got a lot of press release distribution sites out there that are labeled as media sites, but they're really just WordPress sites or that republish. And I don't like that. What I like about some of the other providers that we use, Press Synergy be one of them, Press Advantage, obviously, Quantum Newswire is another one and then we've also got another guy that we're talking to from Texas that it has a press release service, and all they select is they select the best media and news sites possible that they can find. It's not about quantity; it's more about the quality of sites, and I think that's really important. Some of the other press release services out there, guys, they'll tout these huge distribution numbers as far as how many sites they get republished on, but when you drill down into it, you'll see that a lot of those sites are they're like PBN sites, and those can be downright toxic. And I don't recommend those. Now, I'm not talking shit about press cable. I had a long time subscription with them, but I canceled it a few months ago, and I'm just running through my existing credits. And once it's done, I probably will not buy any more or resubscribe. Just so you know.
The question before that from G.
Can I attach your keyword research super package to an RYS order? Yeah, I mean, yes, right? You get your keyword research package and then you just send that in with your RYS stack order as for your keyword list. That's perfectly fine. Also for your link building orders, right? That's part of the reason why I pointed that out in the beginning, because if you're setting up a silo, guys, you want to make sure your silos are structured correctly. We'll do that for you with the keyword research. But also it gives you a shit ton of keywords so that when you order link building packages or you order a drive stack, you'll have those to be able to just add to the order, and it'll be done for you. And, if you guys, I'm sure know that if you're doing keyword research on your own, it can take hours to do it, hours to get good at that, a good list. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to answer this last question from Connect about this, and then I'm going to wrap it up because it's 5 o'clock. So he says, I also have a lot of credit, so I'm considering it as a second or third tier. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question. What I would recommend is if you have credits, guys, or if you're using like some of you probably have subscriptions to not just press cable, but maybe other services, or you have credits built up in other services. If they are the type that inflate their distribution numbers through using some of those PBN style sites, it doesn't mean you can't use them. I just wouldn't point those links from those distribution services directly to the money site. use them like link builders, right? So use those press releases to link to your top level tier 1 branded profiles, or your DriveStack properties, or your Syndication Network properties, or to other press releases that you know are published on good sites. Like, for example, Press Advantage, those, or Press Synergy. I know that they've got a good distribution network. Those type of, in Quantum Newswire is another one. Those are the ones that you could use as link targets for the other distribution services that might not be as clean. Does that make sense? Doesn't mean you can't use them. You just got to know where to use them. It's the same thing with spam links, guys. And that's, you know, when you're using spam links, if you know how to use it correctly and where to point it, it's okay to use it. It can add power to everything that you're doing. You just don't want to point it directly at your money site. That's all.
A dry stack.
That's correct.
A dry stack. Hit it.
That's correct. If you make a keyword research package, you manually remove all location modifiers. Yeah, you can, right? So, you know, gee, if you order the keyword research and then you're going to be adding those keywords, then you might have to go in and do a search and replace or find and replace function, and then add your, you know, space location modifier and remove all that. But you can do that very quickly and easily. Okay. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up. We're over 5 o'clock. So we got to go, but thanks everybody for being here. Hopefully you got a lot out of this. I revealed a lot about PR silo stacking. I don't typically do.
And Gergely, if you have any more questions, you know where to go. We have the Facebook group for the mastermind, so go ask in there. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about this.
That's correct. All right, everybody. Thanks. See you all later.
Yep. Bye.